point out a couple different things about some numbers, and this has to do with frequencies, the pyramids, the pyramid frequency, the Christ consciousness frequency, the third eye, opening your pineal gland, whatever the hell it is. But anyway, a lot of numbers are related to each other. Actually, I was a math major before I switched to a accounting major. And so I remember some of this stuff about the most beautiful rectangle and all that type of stuff. Actually, the golden ratio is this. It's 1.61, excuse me. And it's something that has been found to be all over nature. This is common knowledge. But also, a lot of times, if you look at a painting, the rectangle of the painting will probably be in a golden ratio 1 to 1.16 or 1.1618, or like, pi is 3.14159.265 and all that kind of garbage, right? But you'll see, like, the rectangle, like, you'll never see a painting that's actually a square. A lot of times it's that way. And actually, if you look at the focus of center of attention, it usually converges on a certain point. So in other words, if you take this rectangle and you make another rectangle inside the rectangle, another rectangle of the same exact golden ratio dimensions, you'll see they converge on a center of attention. Usually the best painters will find that the center of attention is not actually in the center of the painting. It's actually off to the side, and it does converge on a point where the golden ratio of all these descending size rectangles come about. I'm not explaining that well, but the golden ratio is actually found everywhere. It's actually found in the human body. Like, there's different dimensions of the body that are, within the golden ratio. It's found in various sea life and all this type of stuff. It's all over the place. Now, I want to point out something with these frequencies because, I don't know if you ever heard of, I mentioned it before about the Schumann Earth resonance or the Schumann Earth frequency. It basically converges mainly on 7.83. And that's been known as a type of healing frequency. It's actually been scientifically proven that people that are connected to the earth, like when you stand on a beach, your feet are connected to the earth, you're actually getting the healing frequencies directly to your body. When you have like rubber-soled shoes on, or you're inside a car or something like that, you're disconnected from the earth and you don't get those healing frequencies. Actually, the Schumann Earth frequency is actually known to be quite a healer. Now, I want to point out something else. The golden ratio is actually used in the construction of the pyramids, too. And on the top of the pyramids, they measured what they call the pyramid frequency. It's at 33 hertz. And if you take the golden ratio times the golden ratio times the golden ratio, and you times it times the Schumann Earth frequency of 7.83, you get 33 hertz. This is also known as the Christ consciousness frequency. Edgar Cayce also talked about this. It's like there's a lot of unrelated disciplines that are coming together that are converging mathematically. It's not like pseudoscience. It actually is hard science. It's actually hard science. It's like, sometimes I wonder, what do you do with it exactly? But it's been known that 7.83 has been known to be associated with healing. But the 33 frequency is also known with opening your third eye, your consciousness. It's actually the golden ratio times, it's 3 times the golden ratio times, in other words, like just like on the pyramids, you have the golden ratio 1.6 times 1.6 times 1.6 times the Schumann Earth frequency is 33. It's also known as the Christ consciousness. And it's also interesting that Christ died when he was 30. He was crucified on a cross when he was 33 years old. Now, another thing about it that's interesting, I just want to point this out here because I'm not going to get super serious into all this stuff, but basically 33 is known as opening the third eye, your consciousness. It's connected with the pyramids. It's connected with Christ, the Christ consciousness. Also, when you take 33 hertz and you multiply it by 16, as a multiplier, you come up with the 528, which is the DNA repair frequency. that's the alleged DNA repair frequency. So actually, a lot of these things that seem like pseudoscience, all these different things that are coming together in different ways, there's actually a lot of commonality to it. It's just that sometimes people take it a little bit too far. It's like, I don't really know, like in other words, 7.83 might be the healing frequency, but I guess it has limitations as to how much what it can heal and things like that, but it's beneficial. It's beneficial. 33 hertz is known as the pyramid frequency, opening the third eye, and also basically to your consciousness, and it's also been known as the Christ frequency too. But the 33 is also, like a lot of people don't realize that 33 hertz is actually related to the golden ratio and the Schumann Earth frequency. A lot of people don't realize that, because you're actually taking the golden ratio times itself times 3 times itself times the Schumann Earth frequency, and you come up with the 33 hertz, which is the Christ consciousness or the pyramid frequency. Actually, that's the frequency that's been measured inside, I think it's the apex of the pyramids. It's actually your consciousness. And then if you multiply that by 16 up, it goes to 528, which is the alleged, which I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but that's also the DNA repair frequency, or the alleged DNA repair frequency. So, I found this to be highly interesting, and I think some people may or may not, but mathematically, a lot of these things that seem to be pseudoscience are like they're just, some space age, new age, mumbo jumbo stuff, actually have a lot of roots in hard mathematics to the max. In other words, this golden ratio is all over nature. You can find it in, I kind of went off on different the paintings and stuff like that. I remember because it was, I remember that from when I was like way back in the most beautiful rectangle, and like if you take that same ratio, it turns out to be the 1.61 to 1 ratio. And if you make another rectangle within that by taking out the square and you have another rectangle, it turns out to be that same ratio. And then you can keep making smaller and smaller rectangles by taking out just the square portion, and you wind up with another most beautiful rectangle, which is 1 to the 1.61 again ratio, which is the most, the golden ratio, and it converges on a point. And actually, some of the best paintings out there have had that center of attention of the painting right on that point. It's actually not the center of attention in the painting. It's not right in the middle. It's actually off to the side and a little bit up to the top or to this side, but it's not. It's always in that point that converges when you can make all these golden triangles, or most beautiful rectangles, excuse me, with the golden ratios. It actually converges on that point. So it exists in artwork without people even realizing they're doing it. But it exists all over nature. All over nature. It's in our DNA. It's in our body proportions. It's in all kinds of animal life, tree life, plant life, marine life. It's all over the place, this golden ratio. So when they made the pyramids, they were conscious of this. They knew exactly what it was. And there is a frequency going on inside the pyramids. They call it the pyramid frequency, 33 hertz, but it's also known as the Christ consciousness frequency, also known as opening the third eye to your consciousness level. And also, if you multiply that frequency, 33 hertz times 16, you bring it up so many levels, it is the alleged DNA repair frequency. So, I figured I'd put this out here because I found it to be, it's something mathematically that is not, it's not pseudoscience, it's a mathematical fact. And it's like a lot of these different things that people say are actually agreeing with each other. Actually, if you look back at the pyramids, they've been around for a hell of a long time. If I just want to diverge on this, because I put some stuff out about Noah, and the fact, I'm not even super religious, but I go by facts. I go by facts, and I guess the reason I'm not super religious is because I find that many people that are super religious have nothing in common with the original Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, they're a little too extreme in a lot of ways. But the actual fact of the matter is that if you look at the pyramids and the pyramid structures and the Sphinx itself, it's been proven that there's been a lot of heavy water damage on the Sphinx itself. Which some people argue with the Bible that it's, I'm not going to argue that the Bible's 100% correct, but I think there's a lot of fact in there that we unearth today. And a lot of times these scientific endeavors that we see mathematically in nature are basically reinforcing religion in a lot of ways too, But I do find that sometimes religious people that are very, very religious are some of the most mean people going. That's why I'm not too keen on a lot of them. But in a lot of ways I realize, what the facts are. The facts are a lot of things do agree with, the basic teachings of a lot of, actual religions, the main religions. And, 33 hertz is considered the Christ consciousness. It's considered the pyramid frequency. It's basically a multiplier of the golden ratio times itself, 3 times itself, times the Schumann Earth frequency to come up with 33. So, pretty interesting stuff in my opinion. And it's like a number of disciplines that might be, I'm not New Age or anything like that, but a number of disciplines seem to agree with each other more than people will admit. And, I'm not so much that I'm going to say, it's got to be this way, it's got to be that way, but, it's hard to argue with mathematics. Mathematics is really based upon facts. And, these ratios seem to exist, the golden ratio exists so much throughout nature. The Schumann Earth frequency actually exists, and measured from the Earth. And it seems that people in the past knew that these things were what they were, and they incorporated into the measurements of the pyramid, which produces a resonance of 33 hertz at the apex, which has also been known as the Christ consciousness. So, who knows exactly? But again, I just want to repeat it. It's the golden ratio times 3 times itself. You multiply it by itself times the Schumann Earth frequency. That gives you the 33 hertz. That's what's actually found in the pyramids at the apex. Also known as opening the third eye, your consciousness. It's also known as the Christ consciousness. Also interesting that Jesus died at 33 years old. He was crucified at 33 years old. That could be significant. I don't know. And, if you take the 33 hertz times 16, that's the DNA repair frequency, or the alleged DNA repair frequency of 528. So, a lot of things seem to be agreeing with each other more than you think. And, I figured I'd just point this out here because I found it to be pretty interesting. I've been always looking and researching these frequencies and a number of different things. And, I'm trying to see what's real and what's hogwash. And, some of these look like really legit. Some of them I think are not legit. But, when you start seeing things that agree with, mathematical facts that are applicable to nature, maybe the 33 frequency is something that opens up your consciousness, right? Who knows?